We're going to spend a little time talking about choking and what you should do if you think you'll come on your child who's having a choking episode. Now, the most important thing about choking is prevention. You don't want to put anything in your child's mouth or have your child get a hold of anything that is small enough to fit into the end of a drinking straw. If it would jam in the end of a drinking straw, it could go down the airway of your child. And most children's airways are about the size of a drinking straw in diameter. So the first and foremost thing is to prevent choking. That being said, if a choking episode does occur, there are certain signs that will tell you that may be what has happened to the child. So for instance, if the child is unable to breathe or is having difficulty breathing, choking should be one of the things that should cross your mind. Other things can cause that, but that's one of the things that should cross your mind if a child is having trouble breathing, difficulty breathing, or sort of having an episode of in breathing, drawing in air and not having anything go. If the ribs pull inward during inhalation, or if the breastbone sucks inward while the child is breathing, it may be because there's an obstruction. There may be something that they actually choked on that got down into the airway that's causing their trouble. Wheezing, gasping, air movement sounds that are very quiet, where there's problems actually with the air getting moved, make you think of the possibility of a choking episode. In an older child, the child may be not able to talk. They may be actually grasping their neck and not be able to talk or make any sounds during inspiration, which is a sign that, again, something is blocking that breathing tube. If the child turns bluish, definitely is a sign that they may have actually had an aspiration or a choking episode where something got down into their airway. If the child appears panicked, or if the child goes unconscious, all of these things are signs that the child may have had a choking episode. Any of these, if they occur abruptly, should really raise your suspicion that there may be something the child got in their mouth that now they've inhaled and gotten down their airway. So if you think a child is choking, call 911 or holler to someone to get them on the phone to call 911. And if the child is gagging or coughing, but they can breathe and talk, so they're able to talk or make sounds. Little babies may make sounds, not actually talk, but if they're actually gagging or coughing, that's your body's way of trying to get rid of whatever is down there and leave them alone. Your body is smarter than anything we might be able to do, so leave them alone. Often the foreign body will come out all on its own. It is useful, though, to understand how to get foreign bodies out, and we'll spend a little time talking about things like the Heimlich maneuver and what you should do in a smaller child here in a moment. If the choking resolves, so a child put something in their mouth, they turned a little bit bluish, they had coughing, and then they can cough it out. That's a severe episode where they've actually had something that's a pretty big deal. Bring that baby to the hospital, or bring that child to the hospital, and you consider calling 911 for that if you're concerned enough. We'll check the child out and make sure that there's nothing that's remained down there in their lungs or down in their airway. If at any point the child becomes unconscious, that's the time to start CPR. And there's a separate part of this video that goes through the steps involved in CPR. And the best way to learn CPR is to actually take an official course through the Red Cross or the YMCA. What I'm going to walk you through now are some of the steps of what you should do should you come on a child that has had a choking episode and you're worried that there is a foreign body. If the child is not moving any air, but is conscious, is still awake, what you'd like to try to do is get that foreign body out. In any child that is small enough to lay on your forearm, pick the child up, lay them across your forearm with their head down. You can do this sometimes standing. You may need to actually sit down to do this, but you can do it standing with a small enough child. What you'll do is with this child, head down, supporting the jaw between your fingers, head down. What you're going to do is you're going to administer basically 5 quick, forceful sort of back blows that are between the child's shoulder blades with the bottom part of your palm. So you'll do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to flip the child over. You can look at that point in time and see if you see anything that may be coming out of the child's mouth, or it may have actually dislodged onto the floor. See if you've relieved the problem, and the child usually will then perk up and start to cough or actually breathe. If not, then what you're going to need to do is actually administer what are called chest thrusts. 2 fingers over the breastbone, between the nipple line, and you're going to push 5 times in rapid succession. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, this may be done sitting down. That may be more supportive for you. You can do it standing if the child is small enough. And again, the child's head is down. You're going to be looking to see if something dislodges into the baby's mouth. You will continue this pattern. 5 back blows. Flip the child over, take a look. Nothing there, still having trouble breathing. 5 chest thrusts. You will continue this until either the foreign body is dislodged or the child becomes unconscious. If the child becomes unconscious, that's the time to shout for help, start CPR, get 911 on the phone, and if you see the foreign body, you can try to grab it. Otherwise, don't do any blind sweeps. That's actually something that can do more harm than good. You may actually take something and push it down instead of having it come up if you try to remove it with your finger. A couple other sort of basic things to go through when it comes to choking episodes. Do not, if the choking episode is occurring and the child is coughing forcefully, leave them alone. Again, they tend to expulse this thing, get rid of this thing well on their own. If the child is alert, don't stick your fingers in there. It's so tempting. Your child picks up something off the floor, they've got it in their mouth, they're kind of just playing around with it. Don't stick your finger, and you may push it down. Don't stick your finger in there. The child will get rid of it themselves. If the child is having other reasons to be having breathing problems, your child has having an asthma episode, or the child has been sick for a few days and this has been gradually getting worse, that's not the time to do these back blows and chest thrusts. That's only to get a foreign body out. So if those instances the child becomes unconscious, that's a time where you may want to do something like CPR. And again, there's another part of our video that explains what CPR is and how the steps go. The following are the recommendations that are from the National Institutes of Health to do if there's choking in a child 1 year of age or older, or adults. So in a tiny child, you can put them on your arm. But if they're too big for that, what you need to do is what's called the Heimlich maneuver. Now, in a child that is big enough, this is too big to put on your arm, but still bigger, you can actually kneel behind the child to do this particular procedure. If the child is big enough to stand, or it's an adult, you can actually stand behind them. And this is the following procedure. What you will do is either kneeling behind a smaller child or standing behind an adult or a larger child. You're going to take your hand, you're going to fold your thumb into your palm, and you're going to wrap your fingers over it, giving a flat surface here where your thumb is. What you're going to do with that is place it right under the breastbone of the child or adult, but the child who's actually having a choking episode. Again, this is someone who's not coughing, but they're trying to breathe, nothing is moving, and they're still alert, they're still awake. Your thumb goes into right underneath that breastbone. Your other arm comes around and grabs that fist, and you pull forcefully, very hard, upward with thrusts of your fist to the point where you're often lifting that person off the ground. The goal of this is you're trying to force, with the air that's in the lungs, force the foreign body out from up above. Continue that until either the foreign body comes out or the victim loses consciousness. And at that point, you call 911, you start CPR, and you go into sort of CPR mode at that point. So again, if someone has a forceful cough and you think they've had a foreign body, leave them alone, they'll cough it out. If they're unable to make sounds but they're awake and alert, they're holding their throat that there may be something down there in an older person, signs that they actually have a choking episode. In a small child, they go on your forearm. It's the back blows, check, see if it's out. If it's not, flip them over. The chest thrusts, check again. Back and forth until they lose consciousness or the foreign body is removed. In an older child or adults, it's the Heimlich maneuver, that thumb in your fist, right underneath the breastbone. You reach around, it's forceful upward thrusts until either the foreign body comes out or the victim goes unconscious, and then you go back to CPR, each time calling 911. That's how you evaluate and take care of choking episodes. Again, check with the Red Cross if you need to learn about CPR, check with the YMCA, but that's sort of the approach to choking episodes in infants and small children.